whereas it's a growth, like it's a progression towards it. So when you said that, like, because I think it can almost get to a pride thing of like, I have to do stuff, and if I don't do it, then it's going to be a problem, versus saying,
But you said that our body gives us signals. For example, moving.
that's good. Really having to just stop and not have to do everything, you know. Because I feel worship is something that you're giving to God, right? So,
I have limits.
okay, so in the sense of recognizing. So in today's topic, we're going to be talking about why you feel guilty when you rest, even when you're exhausted. So for some people, they don't really feel like they're guilty because they're resting. They feel like they're guilty because sometimes rest can mean like they're falling behind when it comes to doing work and productivity. So why do you think that a lot of people feel like it's wrong to rest?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Did you pick this because you wanted me to feel bad?
Okay, since you said that, if you missed our last conversation, in our last conversation, we talked about feeling guilty, or what was it?
We talked about feeling addicted to busyness.
Yes, feeling addicted to busyness. So if you missed that conversation, yes, if you missed that conversation, you need to go back to it, because this is going to be a companion to that. So why did you make that statement?
I made that statement because I feel guilty. I feel guilty about feeling guilty when I rest.
Okay, in what ways does that guilt show up for you?
It shows up to like I got to do something else.
Okay.
In other words, sometimes I feel like I need to be hitting it. You know, I need to be doing something, and too much. You know, I talked about slowing down to reflect, but sometimes when you slow down, you end up feeling guilty. And I know why. I know why. I know why. I feel guilty. I know why people feel guilty.
So you spoke a little bit about why you feel guilty, but why do you think that other people kind of feel guilty? Do you think it's something similar, or do you think that there are different reasons of why people feel guilty?
I think it's all the same. Although I think there are you know, shades and differences in it. But think about it. All of life talks about success and growth and increase. Well, those things, even if you talk natural and spiritual, success is connected to productivity.
Right.
It's connected to output. You know, when people they say I'm successful, or people say they're successful, we always look at, okay, what did they accomplish?
Yeah, what did they do?
What did they do?
What did they time spend like before they became, you know,
right?
successful?
So and not only that, if you flip it over to Christianity, the spiritual arena, we talk about overcoming, we talk about winning, we talk about having the victory, we talked about spirituality, and unfortunately much of that is connected to something that we did. So in a way, our identity and worth is connected to what we do.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about it from that perspective of biblically, because you're always feeling like you're striving to reach something, whereas it's a growth, like it's a progression towards it. So when you said that, like, it to me, I kind of heard we're constantly striving, trying to reach something. Where do you think that originated from?
I don't think it's biblical. I think it's just a part of culture. And I'm not trying to blame culture on everything, but I think it's human nature. I think we have a propensity to connect us doing something to being somebody. In other words, our sense of worth is connected to, what we do in life. For example, we grow up, and when we get good grades, what happens when we get good grades? We get praised, or we get recognized, or we get rewarded. So we're just conditioned in life to produce, to achieve, to accomplish. And it starts off as kids, Your mama used to always say, my baby got straight A's. And then she would reward me, take me to McDonald's, buy me something, I got straight A's. So you become conditioned to performing, to get praise, reward, recognition. And so we kind of totally, this came up in that last podcast where we talked about urgency and anxiety and busyness. We kind of equate laziness.
Yeah.
If we're not doing something, we equate it with laziness, but it's not always laziness. I think we need to redefine rest, because we're talking about feeling guilty even when you need to rest, even when you're exhausted. So maybe we need to redefine rest.
So you talked about redefining rest. I wanted to, because one of the things that I kind of thought about that I wrote down, fear is also tied to rest, because a lot of times people feel like they're doing a purpose or a calling, something God has called them to do. They feel like if they rest, they're not being obedient, and they have this fear of like they're not walking out the calling that God has for them. Do you think that some people feel responsible when it comes to that, because they feel like they may be quitting on God versus just, resting?
But that's getting caught up in that cycle. If we're talking about purpose, and we're seeing rest as an enemy of purpose, then we don't understand purpose, because purpose is a journey.
Yeah.
Is an ongoing, you never arrive when you talk about purpose. You're fulfilling something. It's a journey. But even when we take trips along the highway, they have rest stops.
Yeah.
Think about that. They have rest stops. Why do they have rest stops along the interstate? If you go from here to Chicago, or from here to New York, and if you're driving, or here to California, you're going to eventually run into rest stops.
Right.
So it's obvious that rest is important. And that's what I mean by redefining rest.
Yeah.
Rest is a part of, actually, let's look at it biblically. God created, then he rested.
Yeah.
He didn't create and then keep creating, and then just keep creating, just keep creating, and then just keep creating. The Bible says that God worked for 6 days, then he rested.
So that's where the Sabbath day came from.
Right, that's Sabbath. But see, think about it. God didn't rest because he was tired. Because the Bible says he doesn't get tired. He doesn't get weary. It's a part of the rhythm of life. It's a part, I heard someone put it like this. It's like inhaling and exhaling, breathing. It's like breathing. So when I inhale, I'm taking in. I'm receiving. Okay? When I exhale, I'm giving output. So there needs to be a time where we receive, we regroup, we reflect, and then we give output.
I think that's good when you talked about reflecting, because I look at it, so I have two ways of how I look at it. I look at rest being fuel for your purpose.
Right.
So that's what's like helping
or
you.
refueling
You for your purpose. So I think in some ways I don't have a problem with resting. I understand that part. I think for me, I think where it comes in is trusting that God can still do stuff while I'm resting. Like he can still be working on my behalf while I'm resting.
That's good.
And so I think a lot of it is a trusting of like, because I think it can almost get to a pride thing of like, I have to do stuff. And if I don't do it, then it's going to be a problem versus saying, all right, God, you told me to rest, so I'm resting. Even while I'm resting, you're still working things out for my good, you know?
Well, you brought up something that's interesting. You're trusting God to keep things going.
Mm-hmm.
You're resting.
Mm-hmm.
Ceasing from activity,
mm-hmm.
okay? But are you keeping the world going?
Mm-hmm.
See, think about that. Just the converse of that, I feel guilty because I need to keep things moving.
Mm-hmm.
But really, aren't we saying that I'm needed to keep the world moving?
That's good. Yeah.
It's kind of like I'm holding up the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't hold up the world's just going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't think of it consciously like that.
Mm-hmm.
But remember when I asked you about vacation, I said, what's the root word of vacate? That was in another episode. What's the word?
Vacate.
It's vacate.
From vacation. You said the root word from vacation.
For vacation, to vacate, which means to leave behind.
Mm-hmm.
And really, to be honest with you, rest protects us from burnout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if we keep going and 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 going, I think you have some right there, and going other side, going and going and going, then we burn out.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. We burn out.
Yeah.
We just burn out.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you a question. Do you ever feel guilty?
Oh yeah,
Why?
You used
why?
the word. You said the word striving, and I think that a lot of people who may be watching may have the issue of what rest really looks like, and rest, because I think a lot of times we think of rest as sleeping, right? But really, rest is ceasing from striving to doing stuff. And so again, like I said earlier, mine is that more of like ceasing from striving. So really having to just stop and not have to do everything, you know.
Well, think about it. When we think of Sabbath, Sabbath actually originated with working 6 days and resting 7th. But what do we do on Sundays, which is our Sabbath? What do we do?
Go to church.
We go to church. So it's not like we're doing nothing.
Right.
But what it's supposed to be is that we're ceasing from activity. So let me ask you a question. Would resting be worship?
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Okay. Why you think so?
Because I feel worship is something that you're giving to God, right? So I'm not striving for other people or the outside world at this point. Now I'm worshiping you. Okay.
So would resting be focused on God?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay. But think about it. Most people don't think about that. They don't connect rest to worship. Although we go to church on what we call the Sabbath, and most people wouldn't equate, because I think that's what it looks like. I think, practically, what does rest look like from a biblical perspective? Well, it would look like worship.
Yeah.
And it would look like Jesus. He said, come to me, all you that labor heavy laden, I'll give you
rest.
So it would look like worship. I'm focused on God. It would look like Jesus, I'm handing my cares to him. It would look like, and you use the word trusting. Trusting.
Yeah.
Trusting that I don't have to do everything, that I don't have to be everything for life to be positive, a blessing.
Yeah.
Because, see, if I understand rest, I understand, number one, I got human limitations that I wasn't created physically, psychologically, mentally, emotionally. We were not created to work all the time.
Yeah.
So it looks like recognizing my limitations, recognizing that I have limits.
Okay, so in the sense of recognizing, you use the scripture, come to me who are burdened and heavy laden. What does running on empty look like? Or what does being heavy or feeling heavy or being burdened look like?
It looks like something that you brought up. You said rest is like refueling. Okay, let's use the analogy, the metaphor that you just throwed out. What does running on empty look like with an automobile? Naturally, what does it look like when the needle is running toward? And that gauge up there says full, and then there's a halfway, then it has an E down there, empty. What does it look like from a natural standpoint?
It's low. And then in certain cases, it may notify you that you need to get gas or you need to refuel.
Okay. And so that's what it looked like spiritually, naturally, in life. It means that we're giving out, we're using the fuel that we have, but we're not replenishing. We're not filling us with anything. So if I keep giving it out, and you can use that in any way you want to look at it. If I'm keep giving out and I don't get anything in, I am going to become empty.
Yeah.
And we call that in work burnout, ministry burnout. But it's also true relationally. How is it true relationally?
You have more, well, in some cases, you may have more arguments. You may get frustrated a little bit more easily.
But what does it look like in relationship?
What you mean?
Running on empty.
Just not having much to give?
Or is it giving too much and not receiving anything? If I'm in a relationship and I'm giving, running this car, and I'm using my fuel to take you somewhere, and you're not giving me any money to put fuel back in, then sooner or later that car is going to break down.
Yeah.
It's like breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale.
Yeah.
Well, life is a rhythm. It should be giving and receiving, giving and receiving. And rest is when you receive. On any level, rest is receiving, rest is listening to God, worshiping God, going to Jesus, giving him our cares, is receiving, receiving. I'm reflecting on what I've given, and then now I'm replenished to give more.
I think from the natural perspective too, when you think about it, I think that God created our bodies to respond and to alert us when something is going on. So like with our nervous system, our body was created in a way of like saying, hey, this is too much stress or you're having a lot of anxiety. And so it's subtle. I think about it in the way of like when God speaks to us, it's not always a loud noise or it's not a verbal thing. It can be a quiet inner like notification or a quiet little check of like, hey, you need to do this. So when you think about like touching something that's hot, our body naturally notifies us like, hey, that this is hot. And so our body responds in a way naturally that God created it to when something is harmful to our bodies, it'll react in a certain type of way. And so one of the things that I always try to tell people when it comes to like health and wellness is your body is telling you something. So like if you're not getting enough water, you'll see it in your urine or you'll see it in your using the restroom or using the bathroom. If you are having a lot of stress or anxiety, you may have headaches. And so sometimes what you talked about resting is also reflecting and seeing, okay, what is my body saying to me? So those are some of the things that I feel like in the natural.
You brought up a word that I think is so important. The word anxiety. You said, and you used some natural illustrations, and then you shifted anxiety. But you said that our body gives us signals. For example, when we're not drinking enough water, it impacts even our urination.
Right.
That's given out, isn't it? But if I'm not taking in water, you know, if I'm not taking in, then it's going to impact my output.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this question. Is an anxiety a signal?
Yeah, it could be a signal of stress. So it may be that movement is one of the ways that I always try to push to help with anxiety. So if you have a sedentary lifestyle where you're sitting at the desk all the time or you're staying at home, your anxiety can increase because your body is not moving as much.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
So I think that that's one of the ways to kind of combat that. Also, breath work is another way too.
And you connected it one way, and it was beautiful. But anxiety is connected to stress, and that stress may be connected to overworking. See, I'm overworking, and I'm not taking a break. I'm not resting at all. I'm just constantly doing. I don't know, Tip, but when I get overly worked like that and stressful, mentally, I kind of I'm not as creative mentally. I'm really not. I'm not as, because sometimes I end up trying to drink some coffee to stay awake. Like see, my body's telling me if I'm falling asleep at 7 or 6 o'clock, you know.
Yeah.
And then I got stuff to do, but I have to drink some coffee to try to keep me together. That is cumulative.
Yeah.
It's because I've been running my body and not sleeping the way I should be sleeping. And so that's a signal.
That's funny that you say that because a lot of people don't realize that your brain can only comprehend so much in a time frame. And so I forgot what it's called, but even when it comes to like studying or doing work they have where you may do something for an hour or you may do something for 45 minutes and you have to give yourself a break because your brain isn't going to comprehend everything throughout that whole process if you never take time to do it. Now you'll be doing stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean your brain is comprehending. And if you're not writing it down or if you're not having a way to like keep up with that, you're pretty much almost doing double work, if that makes sense.
Well, you know, it's funny. Just talking to you made me think about myself. I can work at night. You know, when you're a pastor and you learn how to take your office wherever you are, you can do stuff at different times. But if I'm honest, I am fresher early in the morning after a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
When I wake up, I'm really fresh. I can produce, I can create because I've given my body time to shut down and relax.
Yeah.
Okay, it's funny. This may seem funny to you. We all have our little ways of doing things. I always pray before I go to sleep. You know, I always pray before I go to sleep. I'll pray and confess Psalms 91, Psalm 34, and Revelation 12:11, claiming divine protection, angelic protection. And then I pray over Pete and myself and our house and our home. And then I pray over you and your loft and your car outside. I go through that just about every night. And then I pray for Mike and Michelle and Megan, Margot, and Rose. Then I pray for my extended family. Then I pray for Pete's extended family. Then I pray for the church family. And then I pray for my team, Mike Moore Ministry team. And then I take authority over my sleep, in my dream life, because the Spirit of God speaks to me in my dream life, so I won't Satan interfering with that. And then I talk to my body. I say, now it's time for you to go to sleep now. It's time for you to rest. You're going to rest, and you're going to have sweet sleep. And I don't know whether it's spiritual or natural or I'm just winding down, but it's like my body began to relax.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just relaxed. I know I'm finished for that day. And now I want my body to just chill during the rest of the night. Just chill during the rest of the night.
Yeah.
So what's your strategy? What's your strategy if you're going to tell people how to avoid guilt when you rest?
Well, one thing I want to kind of go back to, use that scripture, come to me who are heavy laden and I will give you rest. Have you ever had, or you ever heard people talk about, well, I went on a vacation and I'm still tired?
Right. And I need a vacation after I got back.
Right. I do think that sometimes the vacation or getting away isn't always the answer.
Okay.
I think in some cases it could be your spiritual life needs to be more realign more with Christ, because he said, I will give you rest. And so in some cases, I do think that there's a physical rest that we give, but in other cases, it may be you need to get realigned with God, so you can ask him, okay, in what areas do I need to get realigned? Because he can speak to you saying, hey, you're doing too much of this. You need to pull back on this. This should be a priority. And so just a realigning in with him. I was going to ask you, there's a thing about, the question is rest versus reset. And some people just need to do a reset, which is I need to get aligned back to my values and cores. And then some people just need to do a reset. Do you have a difference, or do you, how do you differentiate the two between a rest and a reset?
I think rest has to do with, like you mentioned, it could be spiritual, it could be mental, physical, emotional. I just look at it as taking a break. It's ceasing from activity and work.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can rest while you're working. Okay. But I do think that reset is what you said. It's aligning your values. It's reflecting what changes do I need to make, what's working, what's not working. That's resetting.
Yeah.
Maybe going in another direction. Maybe this is not working. Maybe the season for this is over. A new season has come. A new way of doing things. That's resetting, but resting is not the same thing. You know, you said something, I want to bring attention to it. I think I mentioned it somewhere else, but you said that it can be spiritual, and it involved taking things to God. I thought about something, and I said this, I don't know whether it was another podcast or I was in a mentoring session, but I said this. I was struggling mentally, emotionally, with the church growing early in the ministry. I was really worried and anxious and full of anxiety and discouragement. And I was talking to God about it because I was frustrated. You know what I mean? I just couldn't get it to grow.
Yeah.
Listen to that statement. I couldn't get it to grow. And so I had all this weight on me. It's some pride in that. It's some pride, and you mentioned that word pride early in this episode. Because sometimes we are assuming the responsibility, sole responsibility of being successful.
Yeah.
Whether it's secular, spiritual, whatever it is, we're assuming. So I'm talking to the Lord about it. I don't know whether I'm complaining but I know I'm worried and frustrated and discouraged. And the Spirit of God literally said this to me. Do your part, rest, and the church will grow.
Wow.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Do your part, rest, and the church will grow. Now, in hindsight, now I'm more mature. I understand it better what he was saying.
Right.
Okay. We all have a responsibility. We all have a part, and God has a part. We have a part in life. God has a part.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're trying to do God's part. We're really trying to do God's part.
Yeah.
So he said, do your part, rest. Okay. My part was to study, prepare to feed the people. My part was to pray for the people. My part to walk in faith with what he had said. Yeah. And my part was to care for them. You know, that's my part. Pray, feed, love, be an example. That wasn't God's part. Yeah. To be an example to them. That was my part. Yeah. My part was to feed them. My part was to pray for them. Right. But then he said rest. Actually, I think he was talking more about not assuming responsibility. Yeah. Now, it could be emotionally let it go, stop worrying about it, rest. He said you find rest for your soul. Yeah. So apparently it was getting rid of the anxiety and the worry about it and trust him. Do your part, rest. So the rest is trusting that God will do his part. Yeah. And he said church will grow. Yeah. And that's the method I chose. To trust God that my part was not to bring the people. My part was not to make the church grow. My part was not to get anybody saved. My part was not to heal people. My part was not to deliver people. My part was not to make them stay. You know, I couldn't bring them. I couldn't make them stay. Make the church grow. That wasn't my part. Do your part, rest, and the church will grow. In other words, he was saying, I'll do my part.
Yeah, I love it. That's good. That's a good word. So the question of the day, or the question that we want to leave you guys with is, do you feel guilty when you rest? That's the first question.
And you shouldn't.
And what's something that you heard today that will help you if you do feel guilty? Let us know in the comments below.
Okay.
We thank you guys so much for joining us for the How to Win podcast. We pray that these episodes will bless you, or they have blessed you in a way. If this is your first time joining us, let us know in the comments. We would like to say hello. And then as always, if you did enjoy this conversation and you want to hear more, please be sure to hit the notification bell and then also subscribe to our channel.
All right. Love you all.
We'll see y'all next time. Bye.